Well, Bob, go right ahead.
One of the facets of that is that the government says they're going to save hundreds of billions of dollars because of this electronic system, and I've listed the companies who are in the forefront of making money from a private viewpoint, and several of them are major Illuminati companies. But what's interesting here is that the savings are not going to appear, and I'll tell you why. Because doctors are in a vice right now anyway. As you just pointed out, that the government is not paying what they should be paying for doctors' services, we'll call them. And anyway, I think that the doctors are going to impede the progress, and they're not going to take a 30 or 40 or 50% cut in their income. I don't know what the average doctor makes right now, but I would say probably something on the order of $120,000 a year. Would you say that would be fair?
I would say so. I think it might be a little less than that, probably a fair amount less than that for a general practitioner. I mean, the doctors are not making anywhere near as much as when I quit medical practice. In fact, dollar for dollar, my first year in medical practice in 1960, I made far more, as far as my ability to purchase than I did when I retired in 1994. So basically, the government has put a squeeze on doctors, has drastically cut their incomes, but you're never going to hear that. And, of course, they're paying more to clinics than they pay the individual because they're trying to force the doctors into managed care facilities.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, I think the whole program is going to run into both opposition by doctors, some who will prematurely retire, and some of them, I think, will leave the country. You know, there's always been an exodus in the United States, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I think it's going to be going the other way.
I think you're absolutely right, and people will be going to Mexico, or they'll be going to Thailand, or they'll be going to Malaysia to get their medical care. They'll be going to Singapore.
India,
right.
They already have them going there, and even the British are sending their medical care patients to Germany, and so you're going to find a lot of that. And you know, medical care in many of these countries is excellent. Germany, of course, it's excellent. And I've heard fairly good reports about India, although I've heard some negatives. And in Mexico, the medical treatment is superb and really quality care. And it's very inexpensive compared to the United States. And of course, they in that country have a medical plan for what we will call the poor, and it costs about, say, $500 a year for a family of four who are in their 20s, and so it's worked out pretty good. But and Germany has a similar type plan. America doesn't have that kind of a two-tiered plan.
Well, we used to have it until the government destroyed it. At one point, everybody got medical care. When I started medical practice back in 1960, nobody died from lack of medical care. We'll be right back. Well, this is Dr. Stan. Our guest is Bob Chapman, and we were just talking about the coming socialized medical system, which will be one of rationing access to health care. And don't believe for 1 minute they're concerned about helping people. It's all about control. It's all about the fact that Medicare is now putting out more every month than it's taking in, so they're going to have to start killing off the elderly. These people would think nothing about that. We're killing people over in Iraq. We're killing civilians in Iran. We're killing civilians in Iraq. We're killing civilians in Afghanistan. We're killing civilians in Pakistan. Why should anybody think that God would want to prevent them from killing innocent and helpless people in America. Where is the outcry from the American people asking, why are we fighting in Afghanistan today when we financed the Taliban and Al-Qaeda initially? Why are we fighting in Pakistan when we financed the Al-Qaeda and Taliban that we're killing now? What's wrong with this picture? Well, right now, of course, we've got Bob, who's listening on shortwave in New York. We're going to go to him. But before we do, why somebody called and asked, when do you think inflation will start here in the United States? How high will it go? What's going to happen as far as the inflationary spiral here in the United States?
Well, my take on that is inflation right now is not the 3% which the government's calling, but it's 9%. And I think it's turned the corner this month, not only in the United States, but also in England as well. And I see that I expect that the inflation caused by the monetization that we're seeing between the Treasury and the Fed and the market and the Fed and the Treasury is going to start showing up real quickly. The Fed has been buying Treasury paper and monetizing it, and also a great deal out of the market of the securitized mortgages, CDOs, and that's about $900 billion, and that's all that money's been created out of thin air. So that's going to start hitting fast and furious. By the end of the year, government will be admitting to 4% when it's probably 12%, and so on and so forth. And so we're going to see plenty of higher inflation, and there's no way they can do anything except pump more and more money and credit into the system. Right now, the increase in M3, which they don't publish anymore, but I do and John Williams does, is around 18%. And the public doesn't have a clue, and now the professionals don't, because it hasn't been published for so long that they don't even think about it anymore. And, of course, it's extraordinarily important. It's the entire amount of money that's dispersed and used in any given month. In all forms.
You're talking now about M3, which is really a compilation of money and credit that's out there, and certainly it's growing at a phenomenal rate. But they're not publishing it because they don't want us common people to know what's really going on. This is only for the elite who are making their plans accordingly, because they know we're going into a hyperinflation and then into a terrible deflation. Well, right now let's go to Bob, who's calling from New York. Hi, Bob. How you doing?
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to say God bless you, Doctor. God bless Radio Liberty and your guest for telling the truth. Now, I am listening to you on shortwave in New York, and I anticipate the show every night. There's two points. One, about Afghanistan, where the poppy seeds are still being cultivated to make heroin to go here and to Europe. So that's why we're in Afghanistan. We also want to put a pipeline in Afghanistan. Right. And I'm sick and tired of the American boys being shot and killed to prop up a government that imposes Sharia law on the country. It's insane. We don't belong in Afghanistan. It's going to be it is a quagmire, and this man is committing more troops just like the last administration. Yeah. It's just sad. And I just looked at my 401k statement from my employer, and I've heard this other information about the housing prices dropping and the inflation being way higher than what they're telling us, and I'm just frightened. That point is very well taken. And also about the health care, you're absolutely right with the percentages of how much is spent when people get older and what they want to just push us off and kill us off. There's another point, too, with the radio frequency ID chips, and they want to create a DNA database so that if you give blood, they'll have your DNA, and for God's sake, they'll be able to track everything that's wrong with you and for whatever reason, to deny you care, but that DNA database, and Michael Bloomberg in New York City was pushing that for misdemeanor crime. This is the way they want to keep us, track us, and then do away with us. And thank you for your time. Love your show.
God bless. Thanks very much. Well, that was Bob calling from New York, listening on shortwave. Our telephone number is 1-888-24-LIBERTY. 1-888-24-LIBERTY or 464-8295. right here in the Central Coast of California. Give us a call if you have a question or a comment.